Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Dallas vs. Isaac. I'm just starting my second run after unlocking Mom's Art. I'm gonna go and start with... I'm gonna go and start a Lazarus run on hard and try to not lose to unlock Bethany, which can be pretty hard sometimes considering that I'm not that great at Isaac. But let's give it a shot. So, I was talking last episode about how I think they might have over nerfed uh, Devil Deals and over buffed Angel Deals, which is a topic some people think a lot about, right? But oh, this item is can be such a joke sometimes. So like they made it on Repentance where if you're if you're okay, so I died, so I'm not unlocking Bethany, but I'm gonna keep going. They made it so on Repentance you can't take deals that cost 2 hearts if you don't have 2 hearts anymore, which I think is I think you should still be able to do that from just just a design standpoint. Like you're doing a calculated risk instead, but I mean it's a decision that a lot of people think it's nice, right? Like the angel deals can be pretty spicy. Like they have a lot of good items, but they have some pretty bad ones. But my main issue with devil deals is the amount of times you're going into devil deals and not getting anything from it. You go into devil deal and it has 3 chests and that's it. That I think is something not that nice. When for angel rooms you're out, I'm pretty sure you're always guaranteed to get at least a single item, right? Which can make them feel way better overall. So here's what I was talking about. See, now you can't get the deal unless you're you have the Zac hearts before you could just get them. But like that was a really good deal. I got 2 really good damage items from it, and I ended up going out with 3 HP items, even though it goes a little against the whole the whole it goes a little against the whole kamikaze usage with red hearts. It's still a pretty nice deal overall, since I just wanna beat the game, right? But something else I noticed is that even though I died last floor, I somehow still have a extra life, and I have no idea how that happened. Because you're supposed to not have it after it goes down, and I disabled all my mods and restarted the game before starting it, so re- it shouldn't really be happening because of mod compatibility. compatibility. So maybe after I beat Momsar, I just take a nail with Kamikaze once and see what happens, because the unlock happens when you beat the boss, not when you enter the chest. So even if you die with after beating a boss, you can still get the unlock for it, which overall is pretty nice, especially considering if you want to complete the whole game, you have to take you have to die at least 100 times for one of the item unlocks. Overall, that curse room wasn't really nice, but I wanted to go into it to take the one heart of damage and maybe do the boss challenge room, but I ended up taking a Stigmata first because I forgot it was a HP up on top of a damage up, which is something that will end up happening a lot, because when I'm playing normally I usually have external items description turned on, which makes the game show up what each item does, which is a really big help if you don't want to memorize our items, or if you play with mods because you don't usually know what every single mod item does, right? But it can make your life a little bit harder if you go back to vanillaize it, just because you're so used to it. But I should know what most of the items do, right? So like that that last run, that last room, I ended up not taking the curse eye item, because if you take it makes it so you charge your shots and you shoot four shots at once, or five now I think after you got buffed. But if you get hit while you're charging your shots, you end up getting teleported outside the room, which can make it pretty hard, especially if you're doing a boss and you get hit while charging. Let's say when the boss is almost dead, which has happened to me before, and it ends up making a pretty unfortunate situation overall, because you're always expecting to get through the boss, but having to undo the whole having to redo the whole boss, especially if you also took damage during the fight, which can happen because you only get teleported when you're charging. It can make it can be a run loser really quickly, but the teleporting effect can be disabled by taking a black candle from the shop items, which is an item you unlock I think after doing one of the challenges. But overall I just think it's an item that's not really for me right now. Mhm. So recently, I've been watching a fair amount of videos about movie theories, right? Not really theories, but like overall movie knowledge. And I watched a video about fan edits, which I thought was really nice. It had a lot of thought put into it, like a lot of research as well. And the video talks about how some fan edits are so good that for one of them, when the original director for the movie saw it, he considered it so good that he wanted it to be included in the Blu-ray copy for the movie as a director's cut, which I think is pretty good. But when you're watching all these videos, there's only a certain amount of stuff that you end up registering and taking with you, you know. So it can end up being a waste, quote unquote, waste of time watching all these videos, right? Because you're only retaining so much of the information about what you're watching. But I I enjoy it. I've been a YouTube enjoyer for a long time now. I've wasted, quote unquote, a bunch of my time into it. I've learned a bunch of useful stuff with it as well, but a lot of it was just for overall entertainment value, you know. But still, it can be a fun experience overall watching some of the videos. Okay, let's go into the curse room and teleport out of it with my stars card. This is, oh no, it's not the poppy. Yes, white shots, which can also be pretty good. I have no idea how people go and get topics to talk about during the whole video, you know. You can only have so much information to talk about besides what you're doing. But it must come with experience. I bet most of the early videos from people are a lot of rambling, just like mine is right now. And a lot of empty silence as well. Okay, so I'm taking a lot of damage. So even if I don't get to Mom's Heart, I might end up discovering why I have that extra life as well. Because it's it's being quite a challenge, I would say, doing doing this while talking, because sometimes I have to stop and think, since English is not my primary language. I'm from Brazil, and it's quite the challenge, especially if I want to reference something. Let's say watch a movie, or I'm reading a manga or manhwa, for example, and since I read a lot of comics like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, and, and I'll translate it to English, of course, but because of how many I end up reading, I tend to not remember the names, and I've already had issues overall with remembering names without reading so much, that with the amount of stuff that I read, I end up not memorizing the names for a lot of the characters. So I just know who they are by their appearance, which overall can be fine if I remember the name of what I'm reading. But sometimes I want to look into something and I only remember the appearance of the character. I don't even remember where they are from, which can which can be really hard to figure out. But I really enjoy a lot of stories. I read a lot of shonen manga, which are mangas for boys. Sometimes I read uh, sometimes I read shoujo, which are more romance oriented mangas, but it's mostly based on the what I read is mostly the action ones, even if there's a bit of a saturation. There are a lot of nice artists who have interesting stories, and even though some of them can be, especially for the Korean ones, some can be adaptations from light novels, even for Japanese ones as well. I I sometimes also read the light novel just because of how much further they are compared to the manga or even the anime, because a lot of light novels end up only getting straight to anime adaptations, and then there are a lot of animes that are not inspired, quote unquote inspired, right? They are not based on any mangas. They're not adaptations, which can also be really fun. The most recent one I've watched that's like this. It's called Skate the Infinity, and it's l- literally just a manga about people doing skate races. But even though it's a really simple premise, the animation's so good that it's one of my favorite shows that I watch overall. I might even say my favorite in my favorite in recent times, which can be really nice. I've also watched Run with the Wind, which is a sports anime based on the fact that every year in Japan there's a there's a race that goes around a long way, and on this anime they made it so the main protagonist has used to be a really nice runner, but he had a injury, a knee injury that made him have to quit for a while. And the story is about him joining a racing club that doesn't really have a lot of participants either, but he he joins there, and they try really hard to get a good position, right? Even though they're all just doing that as kind of a hobby during college. But the story is really nice overall. I really enjoyed watching it as well. I mean, why would you keep watching something you don't enjoy? You don't enjoy watching, but it can happen sometimes where you think you just want to know where it's going, even even if you're not enjoying the whole plot. Okay, let's see. Oh, so the game gave me another Lazarus uh life. Or maybe I didn't die back then and I just thought I did. Which both can happen. Oh, I've never had this happen. I've never had this guy pay out with soul hearts. Oh, and there goes one by touching a fly. Wait, why did I get... Oh, because I used Monster Manual. I was like, why did I get a... Oh my god. Well, there goes my 2 soul hearts, right? Because I keep touching the fly. Which is a really bad way to lose your HP. But since I have money and I have time, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Which I think generally would be cut from videos, but I don't think I really wanna place the effort for doing that when I don't even know if I'm gonna make this video public, especially considering how some people follow me on from the Dungeon Defenders community, and they might come look at this and laugh at it, which might be an overstatement, but I still wouldn't put past some of the people in the community. At least I know that if I can make it to the boss fight, I have a free win because of the Bible. Because if you use the Bible against Mom or Mom's Heart, it instantly kills the boss, which is pretty nice. But then if you think about using it later, for example, if you use the Bible against Satan, you can end up being you end up being instantly killed, which is something you might expect, but you also might not know about how the Bible works against Mom and Mom's Heart. But it's a nice touch, you know. What maybe you just use it to get fight on the fight, and you end up figuring it out by accident, which can happen on some situations, and I think it's a really nice design. And there goes a Blackheart. But I think I should be yeah, okay, pretty close to the boss, and that should be pretty close to the end of the video. So here goes Mom's Heart Clear number 1, which unlocks Eren and Rap Baby. And a cool new file selection screen, but that should be it for today. Goodbye everybody, have a nice time.